Welcome back to Just for Context, the show where we highlight voices that deserve your attention. So today we've got a very special guest with us, someone representing a band who's the band is a blend of clever lyrics, punchy melodies, and layered emotions, making them impossible to ignore. Once I found them, I'm not gonna lie, I couldn't stop listening to them. They call themselves Left of West, and today I have uh, as he says, drummer, founder, writer, manager, coach, and everything else
Mhm.
that he needs to be. I've got Jake Allen. How you doing today, man?
Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you for having me, or us, but they're not here, but they would be. They're here in spirit. So, yeah.
Are your band members a bunch of hats?
Maybe so, depending on what day it is. Yeah, this is one of my I call it my study clothes room. I'm big into fashion, so I have a bunch of all that
Hell yeah.
stuff. Yeah.
Hell yeah, man. That's awesome. Um, all right, so I guess we could just dive into it.
Yeah.
I want to start out with the origin of the actual band and like where it
Mhm.
started. So I would say that you have a sound that feels both intentional and raw, which makes me wonder how did Left of West come together in the first place, and what was like the initial spark that made the band into a reality?
So I mean, the band originated probably about 10 years ago, to be honest, and it was under the name called Slow Turn when it first started. And I was playing in a band called Square and Compass out here in Houston, like what do you call it, post-hardcore, punk, whatever. And I've always been into like 90s music, 90s emo, 90s alternative and I always wanted to start something a little more straightforward, but giving homage to those influences back then. And so that's when I kind of started this band. I hit up some of my friends and we kind of formed that back way back then. Yeah.
Absolutely, yeah, that's awesome, especially 10 years, man. Jeez,
Yeah,
that's
it's been 10, rough years of ups and downs and they're still figuring shit out and all that, that's part of life. So yeah.
absolutely. If you have it all figured out right away, there's something wrong. That's what I
Yeah.
say.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
So speaking of identity, Left of West is a name that stands out. It's got kind of an abstract edge to it, so I was just wondering what the story behind the name was.
So the story behind the name is I got it from a book by C.S. Lewis. Whenever I was a kid, I loved The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe, that whole series. And so I started reading that again, and I was reading the second book of the seven-part series. I think it's The Horse and His Boy or something like that. And whenever I'm reading books, I always like highlight or annotate certain cool lines, words, and phrases, whether it be for inspiration for band names or lyrics or titles. And whenever we were trying to figure out a new name during our mini renditions during COVID, we were trying to figure out the name, and I had this list of names. And honestly, that was the one name I didn't think my bandmates would like, and they all like, "Oh, that's cool." And I was like, "Okay, if y'all like it, then let's go for it." So yeah,
And that's awesome. It's always kind of cool seeing like an idea that you're like, I don't know about that, and then the people who are involved with it are like, hell yeah, that's awesome, let's do it, and you're like, oh, okay.
yeah, I know. I was totally surprised. I was like, I had a bunch of other cooler ones I thought, but if all y'all like it, I'm very democratic in that sense. If they all like it, I'm like, cool, let's do it.
No, fair enough. So your music spans from indie to alternative rock and touches on some folk punk and synth pop in some places. Um,
Okay.
so did you always know what you wanted the sound to be, or did it kind of evolve naturally over time?
It's definitely evolved naturally over time, just with being in a band and not being a guitar player. I heavily rely and depend upon my bandmates to present their own creativity, interpretation from what I hear, because the original influences, I mean, it's totally morphed and shaped through time. Um, but definitely was an evolution. It never was like this is because the old songs we've ended up re-recording and re-releasing, which we're going to be coming out soon. that ones that we had originally written from the inception of the band, like, like I said, almost 10 years ago. So when you hear stuff, you're not hearing necessarily something new from us. It could be old, just kind of, you know, changed.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's honestly it's good. It's good that it like evolved over time instead of just being like, this sounds good, let's stick with this for, the next 10 years.
Definitely not the case. Yeah, like I said, we got a bunch of songs that we're kind of pulling from the pool and be like, oh, let's fuck with this. Oh, sorry, from the vulgarities, inappropriate.
You're good. You're good. I'm not
Okay.
I'm not monetized yet, so we're good.
Not yet. There you go.
Uh, so the genre really, the mixture kind of feels pretty seamless. So did that fusion like happen on purpose, or was it just kind of fall into place while like experimenting with some stuff?
A little bit of both. 'Cause like I said, the originally when I started this band, I had like two bands really, I mean, a bunch of bands in mind, but the two bands I really was kind of trying to push was the old Nada Surf and Maritime. And Maritime is the later band of an old emo band called Promise Ring. Um, but much more straightforward, catchy, poppy, but moody. But that was the original Inception. But then, like I said, playing with people and then introducing their own kind of styles, that's when it started just kind of morphing and changing and like that.
Gotcha, gotcha. Hell yeah. So every band has band and music artist has their own creative process, and it
Mhm.
ranges from like a million different things.
Mhm.
It could be anything. So when talking songwriting, excuse me, Fall Forever is
Mhm.
a standout. It's full of emotional tension and lyrical nuances, but still keeps a sense of playfulness with it. So, can you kind of walk me through how one of your recent tracks, maybe that one, like came together to from the first idea to the final mix?
So that's funny because that song is actually a cover. It's by a Scottish band called Honeyblood. They're fairly unknown. I mean, they did a little tour with that they were opening up for Foo Fighters like 3 years ago, 2 years ago, but that was over, in Europe. I don't know if they've even come to the US or not, but when I first started dating my now wife, of course, when you meet people, you want to be like, what are you about? What kind of music you listen to? She was showing me some bands and she showed me that band. And I was like, oh, this is cool. It's something like I would want to play. You know what I mean? And so that song we decided to cover actually for our first year anniversary present. So when we played a show, I surprised my wife with the live performance of that song as a anniversary gift. And when we played it, we were like, this feels good. This feels like something we would want to play. And of course, we added our own little tinges to it, but we didn't want to totally deviate from it because we liked the song for what it was. Why fix it if it's not broke? You know what I mean? And so when we started playing that, we were like, dude, this is a song that we like. And people didn't know people thought it was an original song because nobody really knows that band. So it's just kind of cool because it's giving homage to somebody that nobody knows, but then at the same time, we made it our own and people think it's our own, but it's not. Yeah.
I definitely thought it was yours. I'm not gonna lie. So,
Cool. Hey, there you go. Yeah, we like I said, we try to make it our own. So, I'm glad you enjoyed though.
yeah, I'll have to check out the original too and kind of just like do a side by side thing at some
Yeah,
point. That
definitely.
sounds
Honey Blood is the band, Honey Blood.
honey blood. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah,
So on that note, is Gonzo Knows, is that a cover too, or is that an original song?
that's an original. That's the
That's an
only cover.
original.
Yes, the only cover we have
Only
is
cover.
that's released. We've played covers before, but that's the one that we released. Yeah, Gonzo knows. Yeah.
Gotcha. So yeah, when I was listening to that, that's a song that kind of stuck with me a little bit. I really like that between like the tone and the title and all that. So where did that one start out and how did it like grow into like the final product?
So Gonzo Knows was originally written between me and our old guitarist, like I said, probably like 5, 6 years ago. And whenever we were messing around with some stuff, we were kind of going through like old iPhone recordings and old demos we had. And that song came on, and then when we were with the rest of the band, like, oh, that's cool, let's do that. So that one's definitely shaped and morphed into what it is now because it was still pretty much similar to it, but we've expanded on it and made it to what it is now, though. Yeah.
Gotcha, gotcha. That's awesome. So, there's another one, Bush and Blue Jeans.
Yeah.
That one I really liked.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
a whole vibe, man. I love it. It it kind of feels like if you put summer like in a container,
Oh,
honestly. That's kind of the vibe I got from it.
yeah.
It's like casual but oddly nostalgic, right?
Oh, yeah.
So what's the story behind that one?
For me and our other old guitarists, we were just jamming. That was before COVID. It was before COVID. So we're my old guitarist. He's no longer with us. He's alive, but he's no longer in the band. Sorry, that sounded like he passed away. He did not pass away. Uh, Still love the guy, but anyways, we were just jamming. We are big. I'm 42. He's 40. We're elder emos, as you call them. Not My Chemical Romance emo, Midwest emo, whatever you want to call it, whatever you want to get in that whole debate. We're really big into Promise Ring, old emo. And he started busting out with that riff, and that riff is kind of an homage to a song they have called Red and Blue Jeans. And we were drinking a lot of Bush at that time. I still drink a lot of Bush. And so we thought it'd be a play of Bush and Blue Jeans, Red and Blue Jeans. And so that's how you have that title right there. Nothing in the song lyrically has anything to do with Bush or Blue Jeans.
Fair enough, fair enough.
Yeah.
Same with the song Dog. Oh, sorry.
Dog
There we
Mommy
go.
Sundays?
Dog Mummy Sundays. Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, my microphone cut out there. So the title is like a fun, like kind of tongue-in-cheek title.
Yeah.
But there's definitely something deeper going on behind it. So is there
Oh, yeah.
something that like inspired that in that track right there?
Yeah, so that was from our last singer. She queer, gay, all that awesome stuff, and she wrote a song about I wasn't necessarily about her life that I think it was just a fictionalized, but whatever, about infidelity is what it's about. She's with somebody, but then she's also seeing somebody else. And so it's kind of like playing, wearing two hats, I guess, and that, and then just incorporating dog mommies because it's always, dog mom, dog dad, whatever. So we thought it'd be a, cool, fun title to work with.
Gotcha. So when it comes to writing, do you casually bring in like rough ideas and build them up as a group, or are most songs just born out of like full-on collaboration, just like straight from the jump?
You mean music or lyrically? Which one are you referring to?
Either one.
Um, so music, there'll probably be, excuse me, like a riff or something like that. We've never really had like a whole song written in entirety. It's always just like a couple parts, and then we'll get together. Majority of the time, probably like 80% of the time, it's always just like me and a guitar player. That's how it's always been. But then lately, we've been trying to incorporate more. But usually, we just get a riff, and then we start jamming out, hashing ideas back and forth, and then tweak it, do all that stuff, and then we iron it out and do like that. And then lyrically, uh kind of the same. I write a lot. I've always written a lot for my old bands. So I'll have some lines or a chunk or whatever, and then we kind of get together and then expand upon that as a band. So there's always that collaborative effort. There's never been an individual wrote a whole thing. It's always group effort.
Gotcha. Kind of like figuring it out as you go along,
Yeah,
piece by
yeah,
piece.
absolutely.
Yeah, and that kind of leads me into my next question. This is one that a lot of people wonder about. So obviously when you're a music artist, you obviously want to put out the best product that you can.
Hmm.
So there's always something that you think about like improving on tracks, like, oh, I could add in a second vocal, or I could put in a little guitar riff here or something like that.
Hmm. Hmm.
So how do you know when a song is actually like done, like that's it, we've pushed it as far as it needs to go, now let's just put it out?
The song's never done. You could go on forever. It's just a matter of, all right. Otherwise, you'll keep on turning knobs and go down that infinite path of, never satisfied. You got to expect, you know what? It's good enough. Let's call it, and that's it. So yeah.
Say I do cover songs, and I'm the same exact way. I just want to add something to it, or like turn something up or down on it, and I'm just like, no, what? No, I just need to just get it out, you know?
Yeah, you gotta just get it out. Otherwise, I've had friends who've literally would sit on an album for years and never release it. And then after they released it, they're like, why did I wait so long? Like looking back in hindsight, it was stupid for me to be so particular about these little nuances that nobody even knows about. You know what I mean? And so it's like, what's the point on dwelling on little, you gotta just be like, you know what? It's good enough.
Right. So your song titles, as we mentioned, are often playful and even
Mhm,
ironic sometimes.
mhm.
Uh, but the music does go deeper emotionally. So do you intentionally pair fun, offbeat titles with more serious themes to kind of counterbalance or something?
No, that just kind of, I think it's kind of happenstance. A lot of the times when we were, like Bush and Blue Jeans was a working title, but we kept it. Like Ford Truck Month, working title, but we kept it. Gonzo Knows, also working title, but we kept it. We kind of just, it all just depends on if we're like, cool, it works, we'll just kind of keep it, but we don't really intentionally try to go either way, just kind of whatever feels good.
Right, right. So overall, what does your creative process really look like? Like, is it kind of just like pass the guitar around situation and like just kind of experiment, or is it like something like more structured?
It's definitely experimental. I mean, because you gotta, as we always say, like throw shit against the wall, see if it sticks. You know what I mean? Because otherwise you could miss opportunities for something if you're trying to look at it from a very, narrow lens. But then at the same time, when you do that, you can never get anything done because you're constantly trying anything and everything. So you got to have some kind of direction. Um, but that's usually how it goes. You know what I mean? We'll definitely experiment with it and kind of just play around with stuff and see, hey, you cool with this? You cool with this? It feels good. It feels good. Let's keep on going down that path, kind of like that. Yeah.
That's good. I definitely like how you check with everybody beforehand instead of just like, taking the lead or whatever. Like,
Oh, definitely not. Because like I said, I'm a drummer and I hear things and I have ideas and I write, but I don't. I have to just check some balances. You know what I mean? So I definitely rely on my bandmates to be very insightful and countering my ideas, and my thoughts and what I think I hear, whatever. So I'm definitely thankful for them for that.
right. Yeah, so a lot of your songs wrestle with themes like growing up, self-awareness, and detachment, but never in a way that feels like it's repetitive, like you're basically just rehashing the same ideas and songs over and over. It doesn't
Mhm.
feel like that at all.
Cool.
Uh, so are there any reoccurring emotions or ideas that surface in your writing that you like to stick with?
Um, Nothing that I like to stick with. I feel like um, you know, as you get older, whatever, you should have more of, self-awareness and you start to kind of like realize and see human behavior, why we are the way we are, what we do, and are we happy with ourselves? And that's kind of like what the meaning of left of west also means to me. It's like you can always constantly, no, the grass is green on the other side or whatever, but you got to be happy with where you are in the moment, now. I'm not sure if I answered your question or not. So if I get derailed, bring me back.
You're good. Yeah, you're good. These are great answers so far. Um, so yeah, sound-wise, there are traces of everything from like 2000s indie rock to modern alternative pop, punk rock.
Mhm.
So would you say that who would you say are the artists or bands that have kind of influenced your sound? Everybody has like a influence in music whenever they
Mhm.
like create.
Like I said, so originally, it was old Nada Surf, Maritime. When and then it comes to other influences like, for like 90s, like alternative could be like Gin Blossoms, you know what I mean? I mean, then it comes to like the indie emo, it could be like Mineral, Braid, Park, Mock Orange, Raina Maria. Those are a lot of the influences that I, try to bring in. But then, like I said, all my other band members, we all come from different backgrounds, so it's definitely interesting on what they bring to the table. But it's definitely 90s alternative with like 90s to early 2000s indie emo would be, the main influences, but then, it takes on the shape of its own. It's like, you hear something different than I hear, so I'm like, oh, that's interesting. I never thought I would, hear that. So it's all subjective. But yeah, those are the influences I would say for sure for me.
Gotcha. So outside of music, are there other forms of inspiration that kind of shape what you do, like films or personal stories, or like cities you performed in, or anything like that?
I mean, definitely, we are a collective of our environment. So I always take in, everything, my experiences, my own thoughts, just life in general, take it all in and then facilitate it back out through music or writing. And I think that's one reason why like I write, I've always written since, my old bands from a long time ago. I've always written because it's another, because drumming is only one aspect of, you know, portraying and conveying your thoughts and feelings, but writing's a whole nother thing. So I would say it's definitely everything, man. Just life as a whole.
Gotcha. Yeah, so you've described your vibe as like serious but not too serious, which
Yeah.
really, comes across. There's definitely honesty, but in high spirits. So what does that phrase mean to you when it comes to your work, like serious but not too serious?
I mean, that's a damn good question. I don't know. I mean, like, we take pride in our work. I take pride in who I am and what we do, but at the same time, we're all humans just going through life and experiencing things and ups and downs and regrets and mistakes, you know what I mean? Um, so because you can't be liked by everybody. People are gonna hate you, people are gonna love you. So what's the point on trying so hard to fit this mold? What mold even exists to be in? You know what I mean? It's just like I am who I am. I like what I like. If you don't like it, fuck off. If you like it, hell yeah, we're cool. You know what I mean? Kind of type thing. So that's kind of the serious, not too serious thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, I mean, you said it's a good question. That's a good answer, honestly. So on the personal side, how much of you and your personality, like ranging from like, all of the members of the band
Mhm.
and your personalities, how much of that ends up in the music? Like do you draw directly from your own lives or kind of just keep it like distance between art and personal?
I would say both, and I think if we do draw from our lives, I think usually it's probably on a subconscious level, not realizing where it's pulling from. It's just being pulled and then pushed out without even our understanding or knowing. Um, but I would say both. Yeah.
Gotcha. So every artist knows that the difference between in the studio and on the stage is astronomically different.
Mhm.
So your production has this like clean but crackling energy,
Mhm.
tight without feeling too polished.
Mhm.
So how hands-on are you in the studio when it comes to shaping that sound?
Very hands-on. All those songs we had did ourselves. Our other guitarist, he was more of the mixer engineer guy. Um, but we would always mix together. He would mix sometimes on his own, but we'd mix together because he hears things that I don't hear, and then vice versa. Because when you're engineering and mixing, you can be really close to the product, too close to where you don't see it all. And so that's where, I would come in and other band members would come in is where we're close because we're in it. We're making sure we want what we want, but we're there to also like check him and help him to get the sound that we want. So I would say we're very, very in the studio process when it comes to mixing and all that stuff. Yeah.
Gotcha. Yeah, your records feel intimate and intentional, but going back to the studio versus live thing, when it comes to live shows, I
Mhm.
imagine things get a little bit more raw up there.
Mhm.
So how does your live sound compared to what we hear on the music?
Definitely more raw. Not as polished for sure. Because because when you're in the studio, you can, like you said, do all the layers and all that stuff, and then tones can vary from, the studio to the live. Live is definitely much more raw. We don't use any backtracks, none of that. We just plug in and play.
Awesome. So every artist has a journey, right? So since starting Left of West, all of you guys, what's something you've learned about yourselves, not just as a band, but as like individual artists?
Uh, Patience. Because when you're dealing with people, you have to be patient. Have, you can have relative expectations because you have to have some type of expectation in order to go in a direction. Because if you don't expect anything, you're not going to do anything. Uh, but patience, man, because there's ups and downs and seasons for everything, and people change and emotions can get hijacked and people can go off and you got to just let it let it be, as the old Beatles would say, Yeah, it's got to just let it be sometimes, but definitely patience though, yeah.
Absolutely. Let it be.
Hmm.
So let's talk about the future. What is next for Left of West? Like any upcoming releases, tour dates, or creative pivots on the horizon?
Yeah, so like I said, we have three more songs of the four song EP. So we just recently released a song called Goldmine. It's on Spotify, all the platforms. And that is the first of the four song EP we have. So we have the next song we're going to put out. It's going to be called Post It Up. And then we're going to release the two more, and then we're going to group that as an EP. But then on the side of that, we got asked to do a compilation out of Austin slash Houston on Diverse Course Records, and we're doing it for an organization called Louder Than Hate, and it's a human rights, but more specifically the LGBTQIA plus rights. So we have another song coming out on that. So we'll be having what, four more songs coming out, hopefully within like the next like few months. And then as for shows, we've been putting a hold on local shows. We're just playing out of town. Texas is a big ass state, so it's hard to get out if you don't have enough time. Everybody's work schedule and life schedule. So lately it's been like, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or just weekend runs to go out of town. So we're doing, neighboring city outside of Houston in a couple of weeks. And then the end of this month, we're doing another little Texas run. And then September we got some more out of town dates. But then I know we are trying to book something more expansive, either this winter or either probably next spring or summer. Trying to get more on the national, just get out of big Texas. It's just so big, so it's hard to, get around.
Right. So you've been impressively consistent with your releases. I mean, you literally just named like what, like an entire EP that you got on the horizon.
Yeah.
So how do you keep the ideas flowing and avoid burnout and repetition creatively?
So whenever like I said, whenever this band started, we would with the advent of technology, you have phones now. So, we would write songs and then like put your phone down and record it. So we'd have all these songs cataloged from the beginning, from whenever it was originally Slow Turn, and then we had our other band was called Drug Money Sunset. There's one song on Spotify that's a song we don't play anymore. But so we have a catalog of stuff that we've just had for years. And so we have like the opposite problem. Most bands, they have writer's block or they get kind of stagnant and stale. They don't know what to do. We have tons of songs that we pull from. So we're never dry. The well is never dry in that instance. We're always just like pulling out stuff. And then it's cool because it's a song that we maybe did like, 2 years ago or 8 years ago. But then when you introduce it now, fresh ears, new hands, new minds. And so it kind of reshapes itself in the present as opposed to pulling a song that we did, 5 years ago and doing it exactly the same. So we're constantly got stuff. We never really have an issue with, having that, writer's block or, any of that.
Right. And finally, last question. If you had to boil it all down to one sentence, what is Left of West really about?
Being happy with who you are and where you're at.
Hell yeah. And we love a LGBTQ plus ally. We love that.
Yes, 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 yes.
Yeah, this has been an awesome deep dive and interview, man. Thank you so much for being here. And
Thank you, Connor.
absolutely, everyone listening, check out Left of West on Spotify. Hit them up on Instagram or check them out on Instagram. Check
Yes.
out their releases and stuff at Left of West Band. And keep your ears open for what's next. You're going to want to be a part of this ride. So once again, thank you so much for coming on, Jake. I really
Awesome.
appreciate it.
Thank you, Connor. Appreciate it.
And best of luck to you and your band with the future.
Awesome. Thank you.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for listening to Just for Context, and I will see you guys in the next one. Take it easy, and bye-bye.